This was me, back in November of 2021. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. That's true. I can probably think of 1,000 different ways to say depressed. Here I am a month later. This was taken right before Christmas. I still remember taking this picture. It was early in the morning and I was getting ready for work. I think my facial expression says it all. I was completely oblivious, however, to everything that awaited me the following year. My identity was about to be called into question. My whole world was about to shift radically.
I'm unstoppable. I'm a fortune with no breaks. I'm invincible.
What kind of depraved lunatic does it take to put on makeup and a dress and stroll into the grocery store? Well, you might say, yeah, everybody goes to the grocery store. What do you mean? Okay, well, what kind of person born with a penis would put on a dress and go to the grocery store? That's crazy. That's going against nature, you know? I mean, there are two genders, right? Male and female, of course. And there are two genders for a reason. If everybody could just pick and choose their biological sex, then that would be the end of the human race. I mean, you may as well walk around claiming that you're a dog or a tree, or you might as well be a white person saying that you're black, for instance. What would make a person think that way? It's insane. I think that's a good way to sum up the sentiment of most of society. It's like, you expect me to take you seriously whenever you're walking around saying that you're something that you're not. You're living as something that you're not. But you expect me to take you seriously and refer to you as such. Well, yeah, kinda. Now, before you click off this video or go screaming to the comments section, let me explain, please. All I ask is you hear what I have to say, listen to my story, and if by the end you still feel the same way about transgender people, then you win and you can tell me how wrong I am and what a loser I am and everything else. Now, I'm not attempting to change anybody's mind. I'm not attempting to indoctrinate kids or indoctrinate the elderly or indoctrinate anybody. I would not wish this confusion, identity confusion, on anybody. And yeah, so if I could have a little bit of your time just to maybe fill you in on what goes through the mind of somebody like myself. Before I get started, I am a different kind of transgender, I think. I say that because a lot of the stuff that you usually hear about, the trans community getting in an uproar over, just doesn't, it's not an issue with me. There's a lot of things that people debate that I would just not even waste my time debating. This isn't some big, take over the world plot or anything. This is me being myself and wanting to feel like myself and wanting my body to reflect how I feel. I'm no social justice warrior. There's no large agenda. There's nothing like that. It's just me talking to you. I'm as real as I need to be. That's one of my favorite things to say. Now, let's rewind the clock to January of 2022. We're going to take a little journey with selfies. I took this picture on the afternoon of February the 27th, 2022. The night before was one of the most defining nights of my life. I had had an epiphany. When I took this, I had just spent the day getting rid of all my old clothes, minus a few basic necessities. I also bought my first makeup kit that day, having no idea how to use it. Looking back, I don't think I did a very bad job. I was also in love with my lifelong best friend, a dude. In other words, this selfie is like a birth certificate for Patricia Elise. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, I began taking selfie after selfie after selfie. I was so happy with the way this picture came out that I sent it to my friend that I was in love with. The friend who is heterosexual, by the way. Now, you're probably thinking, hold up, Trisha. Your friend is heterosexual. Why are you sending him pictures like that? Well, that's a good observation. And if you want the answer to that, then you have two options. You can either bribe my psychiatrist, or you can go to Amazon and buy my book. It's $2, but it goes into a lot greater detail about all this, and I just don't want to go into it all here on YouTube for, privacy reasons for my friend and such. So, in other words, yeah, there are answers for this, and you can read about them in my book if you'd like. So, the next month in April, I went on a shopping spree at Ross. I bought so many cute outfits. Despite my family's objections, I was becoming more and more comfortable wearing women's clothes. As spring came to an end, I was either taking selfies or looking for a date online. The more I looked like a female, the easier it was to get a date. And oh boy, did I ever date. I flat out went boy crazy. I remember a 6-night span where I went out with a different guy every night. I fell in love with D-I-C-K.
What a hoe.
As the days got hotter, so did I.
Damn, baby.
What a hoe.
So when I think back to that time in my life, 3 words come to mind: chaotic, exotic, and erotic. I was all over the place. I was experiencing life in a new perspective, and it was very enlightening. I say that time was chaotic because there were just constant highs and lows. They were extreme. For every confidence boost that I would get from being complimented by a man, there was a weird look or a smart ass comment made by somebody. My identity was pretty much up in the air at this point, and it could just go either which way, and I was not sure what to expect. It was very uncertain. I was beginning to feel more and more like a woman on the inside, and I wanted people to see who I really am. I started to foster this deep-seated psychological need to be seen as a woman. Throughout the back half of 2022, I continued to bounce around like a ping pong ball, and that's mentally and physically. Whether it was from what happened with my ex, my kid's mother, I don't know if it was because of that, but for whatever reason, I began, even the notion of being with a woman made me feel uncomfortable. I completely lost all attraction to females. Instead of an attraction, there was jealousy, extreme jealousy. I envied natural women like you wouldn't believe. I was thirsty. I craved attention from men. From the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed, it was, give me attention. Look at me. I'm beautiful, basically. And on top of that, I continued my advances on my best friend, which were not going anywhere. Deep down, I knew that I was on the right path, that I was going to become a woman. I was going to be seen as a woman by everybody, and nothing was going to stop me. I just didn't know how to make that first step. It was so chaotic, and I'm just so scatterbrained and disorganized when it comes to stuff that I'm really passionate about, that basically I was my own worst enemy. The more time that went by, the less and less comfortable I was with my birth-given body. I began to have outbursts. I never really had outbursts throughout my life. I've always been pretty mellow and well behaved for the most part, for lack of a better term. But yeah, there were outbursts, and I just couldn't control my emotions. August, September, October, November, they all went by so fast it's all just a blur in my memory. But then came December of 2022. So around early December, I was out with this guy I used to see regularly named Patrick, a really cute guy with a beard, and I just love beards. But so we were out one night and we had to stop at a QT convenience store so he could get gas. And another outburst was about to happen. Patrick had went inside to pay for the gas and it was taking forever. I decided to go inside and see what the holdup was. I walked in and there he was talking to the girl behind the counter. Not only that, but she appeared to be flirting with him, like pretty heavily. I was not happy. I walked up, stood up next to him, and she turned around and asked me what I needed, addressing me as the S word. Sir. The next thing I knew, I had knocked all the candy off the rack. The police showed up and I was in deep shit. Luckily, they gave me the choice between going to jail or going to the hospital for a mental evaluation. Anything's better than jail. I was taken downtown to JPS Hospital to the 10th floor. I ended up spending a little over a week there at the psych ward, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. They hooked me up with a doctor and a psychiatrist to start seeing regularly. The doctor put me on estrogen and testosterone blockers. I had begun hormone replacement therapy. I felt optimistic for the first time in a long, long time. So this was great. A lot of the chaos in my life slowly began to settle down, and I was able to think a little more clearly, it seems like. And I began to think more about the future and what was I even doing? What's the point of all this? I had a much needed sense of purpose, I guess is the best way to say it. And everybody really needs that if you think about it. I felt like I was finally on the right path, the path that was going to lead me where I wanted to go, which was womanhood. So Christmas and New Year's came and went. My hair had continued to grow. My looks had continued to slowly transform. And yeah, I continued to take selfies. A lot of selfies.
I'm unstoppable. I'm a butcher with no brakes. I'm invincible. I win every single game. I'm so powerful.
After being on the estrogen for about 6 months, my body had undergone some serious changes. My breasts were coming in. I began to develop a butt. My skin felt a little bit softer. And thankfully, I didn't even have to shave that much. Well, I felt attractive for the first time in my life. That was good, but there was a problem. A couple of them, actually. I was broke, living at my grandmother's house, and I could not get a job to save my life. I started to learn that no matter how well you might pass as a transgender person, there's always going to be difficulties. As a matter of fact, passing itself brings on a whole host of new difficulties. I didn't know it then, but things were about to get really, really rough in my life. And in part 2, I'm going to go over it. I hope y'all come back and watch part 2, and I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I worked really hard on it, and yeah, I hope to see y'all there.